After 14 years, I discovered something that shattered everything I thought I knew. My son, wasn't mine. My wife left me, taking him with her, to live with his real father. And if that wasn't enough, they painted me as the villain, as the bad father. But it was my son's statement in court that finally revealed the most jaw-dropping truth of all. I'm 35 years old, and until yesterday, I believed I had a pretty good life. I've been married to Rebecca for 14 years, and together, we had Adam, our son, now 14. When Rebecca first found out she was pregnant, we weren't planning on it, but I was ready. I was happy. I was excited. I stepped up, and from the moment Adam was born, I loved him with everything I had. I was there for his first steps, his first words, and every other milestone along the way. I worked 2 jobs, sometimes just to make sure we had enough to give him a good life. It wasn't always easy, but I never complained. That's what fathers do, right? They don't complain. They just keep going, because their families are counting on them. I did everything I could to be the best father. I helped Adam with his homework, taught him to ride a bike, and never missed one of his soccer games. Every summer, just the 2 of us, we'd go camping. Those were the moments I lived for. Those were the times I'll always treasure. I wasn't perfect, but I always put my family first. I made sure Adam had everything he needed for school, even if it meant skipping lunch at work sometimes. And when his birthday came around, I saved up for months to buy him that game console he'd been dreaming about. When he opened it, the look on his face was worth every extra shift, every long day. Rebecca and I had our struggles, of course, but I thought we were happy. Just last month, we celebrated our 14th wedding anniversary with a quiet dinner at home. Adam even made us a card, which, for the record, was still on the fridge, at least it was, until yesterday. Yesterday, it all fell apart. It started like any other day. I went to my first job in the morning, then my second job in the afternoon. I was looking forward to dinner with my family, looking forward to just sitting down together at the end of the day. But when I walked through the door, something didn't feel right. The house, our home, was too quiet. Usually, Adam would be glued to the TV or playing video games, and Rebecca would be in the kitchen, cooking or cleaning. But today? Silence. Nothing. I called out for them, but no one answered. I checked Adam's room, thinking maybe he was just wearing headphones and didn't hear me. But his room was empty. Some of his clothes were gone. His favorite books, gone. My heart raced as panic set in. I moved to our bedroom, and that's when I saw it. A note. In Rebecca's handwriting. I couldn't breathe. My hands were shaking as I picked it up and read the words that, ever since, have been echoing in my head. Rebecca wrote that she and Adam were leaving me. But that wasn't the worst part. No. She told me that I wasn't Adam's biological father. She revealed that, just before we got together, she'd had a brief fling with another man. And when she found out she was pregnant, she assumed it was mine. She said she convinced herself it was true, because she wanted it to be true. But now, 14 years later, Adam's real father had come back into the picture. And Rebecca, well, she decided to let him in. She wrote that Adam deserved to know his real father. I felt like the world had just collapsed around me. The room started spinning. My legs gave way beneath me, and I collapsed onto the bed, trying to process what I had just read. How could this happen? How could Rebecca do this to me? To us? I kept reading, desperate for some kind of explanation that would make sense of all this. But there was none. Rebecca said she was sorry. She said she knew it was wrong, but she was scared of losing me, scared of being a single mother. She claimed that Adam's biological father could give them a better life. And then, she wrote something that cut through me more than anything else. Adam was excited to meet his real dad. He was looking forward to starting a new life with him. That hurt. That hurt more than anything else. For the last 14 hours, I've been lost in a storm of emotions. Shock. Anger. Betrayal. Sadness. I've cried more in the past day than I ever have in my life. I keep thinking about all the moments I shared with Adam, teaching him to tie his shoelaces, staying up all night with him when he had the flu, cheering at his soccer games. Were they real? Did those moments mean nothing? I can't stop wondering. Did Adam ever suspect anything? Did he feel it? Did he know deep down I wasn't his real father? Did Rebecca ever give him a hint? I've tried calling, tried texting, both Rebecca and Adam. Their phones are off. I even drove by Rebecca's parents' house, hoping to find some sign of them. But nothing. Nothing. I feel like my whole life has been a lie. For 14 years, I poured everything I had into being a husband, a father. I worked myself to the bone, I gave everything, and now, in an instant, it's all gone. What am I supposed to do now? The house feels empty without them. I've taken time off work, but I can't focus on anything. I keep hoping this is just a nightmare, that I'll wake up and find them here. I want to fight for my family. After all, I've raised Adam for 14 years. Doesn't that count for something? But then, I think about Rebecca's betrayal, and I wonder, can I ever trust her again? I've considered hiring a lawyer. But where do I even start? What rights do I have? Can she just take Adam away from me like this? I feel like I'm drowning in uncertainty. I've thought about finding them, but what if Adam really wants to be with his biological father? Do I have the right to stand in the way of that? The thought of never seeing him again, it's tearing me apart. But I want him to be happy. I want him to have what's best for him. I'm so angry at Rebecca for lying. I'm hurt. I'm confused. And I just don't know what to do anymore. She just left. No warning, no opportunity to talk it through. How could Rebecca do this to me, just walk out like it was nothing? But what really destroys me is Adam. He's my son, no matter what anyone says. I raised him, loved him, cared for him for 14 years. How can all that just be erased because of a biological accident? It's not fair. It doesn't make sense. I've thought about reaching out to Rebecca's family, to our mutual friends, but I can't. I'm ashamed. Embarrassed. How could I not know? How could I be so blind for all these years? And what if they all knew? What if everyone else knew the truth and kept it from me? The thought alone, it feels like a betrayal so deep, I don't know if I could survive it. How could they do that to me? How could they all just keep this secret? And then there's Adam's biological father. Where has he been for 14 years? He just shows up now? After all this time? Why now? Did he know about Adam all along and just didn't care? How could anyone do that to a child? I have so many questions, too many questions, and no answers. No way to find the truth. I'm terrified for Adam. He's leaving everything behind, the only life he's ever known, his school, his friends, his home. Is this really what's best for him? Or is he just being dragged into a new life for the sake of some man who claims to be his father? What kind of man is he? Is he going to love and protect Adam the way I did? Is he really worth giving up everything for? I can't even walk into Adam's room. It feels like it's frozen in time. His soccer trophies are still on the shelf, his dirty laundry still in the hamper. It's like they left in a hurry, like they never planned to come back. Pieces of their lives scattered around the house, reminding me of everything I've lost. And now I'm sitting here, writing this post, because I don't know who else to talk to. Has anyone else gone through something like this? How did you survive? How did you cope? I can't stop thinking about Adam and what's going to happen next. Is there even any hope left for me to have a relationship with him in the future? Or has it all been taken away from me? I never thought I'd be in a situation like this. But here I am. Life can change in an instant, can't it? One minute everything seems perfect, and the next, everything's shattered. Update: it's been months since I posted, and I need to share what's happened since then. I can't even express how much your support meant during this time. Your words, your advice, more than I ever imagined. Thank you. After my last post, I got divorce papers from Rebecca. I knew it was coming, but seeing it in black and white, it made it feel so final, so real. All of a sudden, it wasn't just something I was afraid of, it was happening. And that's when I realized something. I can't just give up. I can't let them take Adam away without a fight. So, I found a lawyer. It wasn't easy, financially. I had no idea how I'd pay for it, especially with Rebecca and Adam gone. But I had to try. I had to. I found someone who was willing to work with me, but right from the start, they warned me. It was going to be hard. After all, I wasn't Adam's biological father. And that's a huge obstacle. The battle in court was worse than I ever expected. Rebecca and David, they came at me with everything they had. David's a wealthy man, and it quickly became clear that his resources were endless. They hired the best lawyer they could find, and it wasn't long before I was up against experts, witnesses, and the kind of money that could change everything. They painted me as a neglectful father. They said I was never there for Adam. They twisted everything I'd done for my family and turned it into something negative. They talked about my 2 jobs, how I wasn't around, how David could offer Adam a better life, private schools, vacations, everything. They even had people, friends of theirs, claim they'd seen me ignore Adam. That I was harsh with him. It felt like a nightmare. How could they do this to me? Everything I did for my family, everything, was being used against me. Those camping trips Adam and I loved? To them, they were just cheap vacations. All the sacrifices, all the love I poured into being a father, it didn't matter. I thought I was losing. I started to accept it. Maybe I was going to lose Adam forever. The thought of never seeing him again, of someone else raising him, calling him dad, it tore me apart. There were nights when I couldn't sleep. I just lay there, heartbroken, thinking about all the moments I'd missed, and all the moments I might never get. But then, something changed. The judge ordered that Adam be heard. My heart dropped. What if they poisoned him against me? What if he said he wanted to live with them? I didn't know how I'd survive hearing him say that. And then Adam took the stand. I couldn't breathe. What happened next? It was nothing like I expected. Adam looked right at the judge and said, "I want to live with my dad. My real dad, the one who raised me." I almost didn't believe it. But then Adam went on, and everything changed. He talked about how I was a great father. How I'd always made time for him, even when I was exhausted from work. He talked about our camping trips, how I never missed a soccer game, how I taught him to ride a bike. He said I always made him feel loved and supported. And then, Adam dropped the bombshell. He said that Rebecca and David had been trying to coach him on what to say. He'd overheard them, planning how to make me look bad. They told him to say I didn't care about him, that I ignored his education, that I was always angry. Adam said he couldn't lie about me. He couldn't do it. He told the court, with absolute certainty, that it wasn't true. He said, "I know who my dad is. It's him." And for the first time in months, I felt a glimmer of hope. He'd overheard it all. Everything. How Rebecca and David had sat in whispered conversations, planning ways to twist the truth, manipulate the court, and turn everything against me. It felt like my entire world had shifted beneath my feet. How could they be doing this? The courtroom fell into a stunned silence. The judge, usually composed, leaned in closer, asking Adam to clarify what he'd heard, questions that could change everything. Adam, shaking yet firm, told the court about a conversation that left me breathless. David had suggested they could pay off some of my coworkers to testify against me. Pay them off? I could barely comprehend the idea. And Rebecca? She'd been hesitant at first, but David had persuaded her that it was necessary, that it was the only way to win. They even talked about coaching Adam's teachers, telling them to lie, to claim I never showed up for parent-teacher conferences. That wasn't true. I was always there. I'd made time for them, even if it meant taking time off from work. Adam, with tears in his eyes, admitted that he had felt confused, scared. He'd overheard it all, and yet, in his heart, he knew what was real. He missed me. Then, Adam dropped the bombshell. They had tried to manipulate him, tried to convince him to lie. They wanted him to say I was neglectful, that I didn't care about his life or education, but Adam refused. He couldn't lie about the truth. He spoke with such clarity, telling the judge exactly what he had heard, the manipulation that had been going on behind the scenes. The silence in the courtroom was deafening. I could see Rebecca and David, their faces pale, their eyes wide with shock. The judge asked Adam to explain more, to give context to what he'd heard. And Adam, brave beyond his years, told the court everything. He described how David had said they could pay off co-workers, how they planned to make me look bad, twist every word I'd ever said. The judge's face grew darker with every word. It was clear he was taking this seriously. Adam's testimony shifted the tide in the room. The judge immediately ordered an investigation into Rebecca and David's actions, into their attempts to manipulate a minor's testimony. The weight of those words crushed me. I had never expected this, but here we were, standing on the edge of something that could change everything. The next few days were agony. Waiting. Worrying. Could this really work in my favor? Could Adam's words be enough to stop them from taking him away from me? The suspense nearly suffocated me, but then, the moment of truth came. I could barely breathe as the judge walked into the courtroom. Every eye was on him. The weight of what he was about to say could alter our lives forever. The judge began slowly, carefully, weighing his words. He talked about the importance of financial stability. Yes, it mattered, but it wasn't everything. He praised my dedication. The way I had always put Adam first. Working 2 jobs wasn't neglect, it was love. He pointed out all the moments, big and small, that I'd been there for Adam, his soccer games, our camping trips, teaching him to ride a bike. All of it. But it wasn't just about what I had done, it was about who I was to Adam. The judge called out Rebecca and David's actions, their attempts to manipulate the case, their disregard for Adam's emotional well-being. He said it raised serious questions about their fitness as parents. My heart raced. Was this really happening? And then, the judge made his decision. He granted me full custody of Adam. I couldn't believe it. My mind reeled as I processed the words. The weight of the decision, the years of worry, the legal battle, the emotional toll, it all melted away in that single moment. Adam ran to me, his arms wide, and I held him so tightly that I thought I might never let go. The tears came, tears of relief, of joy, of finally having my son home with me where he belonged. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. Adam and I moved back into our house, but everything felt different now. We were together again, but it wasn't easy. The financial strain was real, but we were making it work. Adam even offered to get a part-time job to help, but I told him to focus on being a kid. He deserved that. He's been incredible through all of this, strong, mature, and understanding. We've started to heal. Slowly, together. As for Rebecca and David, they have visitation rights, but Adam has made it clear that he's not ready to see them yet. I'm letting him decide that. We're taking it slow, just as the therapist suggested. And me? I'm also in therapy, trying to deal with the pain, the betrayal, the stress. It's hard. But I'm getting through it. Each day, one step at a time. Adam and I are finding our rhythm again. We cook together most nights, neither of us are great at it, but we laugh, and that's what matters. We've started having movie nights too, reliving the classics I grew up with. To everyone who supported me through this journey, I can't thank you enough. Your kind words kept me going when I thought I couldn't take another step. For anyone out there going through something like this, don't give up. The truth always comes out. Adam and I, we're looking ahead now. We're planning a camping trip, just the 2 of us, to make new memories, like the old days. Yes, there will still be hard days. Days when the hurt feels too heavy, when anger resurfaces. But no matter what, Adam and I are in this together. We're stronger than ever. Here's to new beginnings, to healing, and to the family we've chosen for ourselves. Thank you all again for your support. It means more than you'll ever know.